Hi everyone, I'm Callie Kim. Welcome to my garden. Summer is almost here and the garden is in full swing. Today I'm going to share with you 5 vegetables you need to plant in June. Now June is busting out all over and you need to get these vegetables planted now for a jump start before the summer heat hits. All of the vegetables I'm sharing with you today are actually leafy greens that thrive in the heat of the summer. Now, I love me a garden fresh salad. They're definitely a staple in our house. But the problem with the cool weather greens that I have planted along in here is that they start to bolt when it gets over 80 degrees. But not these, they're garden workhorses and will absolutely thrive in the sizzling summer sun. So leafy green number 1 is chard. It is an absolutely beautiful leafy green, comes in so many different varieties. This is one that has a beautiful yellow stem right here. And I've got one started in my little cow pot that's called red chard. It has gorgeous little red stems. And it's delicious harvested as baby leaves, but you can also let them grow a little bit bigger for use in your smoothies and your wraps, and you can even use the stems chopped up in stir fries. It grows very, very easily when direct seeded right in the garden, or if you want to make a little sizzling summer salad station, you can plant all these greens right in a container. Pretty much wherever you live, you can get chard seeds planted right now. That's one of the beautiful things about it. It takes the heat, it also takes the cold. So here in Southern California, chard will grow year round. I'm going to plant some of the Ruby Fresh chard seeds here in my little 5-gallon smart pot. Now you might not know that I have a garden subscription box, and these seeds are actually in my June garden subscription box, which is a sizzling summer salad station theme. So the seeds are actually little seed pods. There's several tiny seeds inside each one of these. So you want to space your seeds about 3 to 4 inches apart in your container. I'm actually going to make a little salad station here in this container, so I'm just going to plant 3 seeds here. So I want to be able to fit other ones in. Just push the seeds down into the soil. And these will germinate when the temperatures are around 70 to 80 degrees in just a week or so. In about 50 to 60 days, you're going to be harvesting some beautiful, delicious Ruby Fresh chard that looks something like this. The baby leaves are nice and tender. We love them sauteed in scrambled eggs. And I also love to sprinkle them on top of salads for a beautiful garden fresh pop of color. Another leafy green vegetable that I'm planting this month is kale. You really can't go wrong with kale. It's great in smoothies, in salads. It's delicious just to eat plain. It's just such a nutritional powerhouse. Now, let me show you what I mean. Talk about a powerhouse. I've got new kale that I'm going to plant, but this kale here has been growing actually for a couple of years in this smart pot. And what happens when it starts to bolt, like it is right here, it's actually starting to flower and will eventually produce seeds if these flowers dry up. But when it gets like this, I always just snip it off right at the base. And then within a couple of weeks, brand new leaves grow back. And in this method, you can continue to grow kale year after year, especially if you live in a southern garden that is frost-free. So in this way, my kale grows for years. Now this is a gorgeous red Russian kale. The flowers are actually edible. You can top your salads with them and they're very, very delicious. Now here I have some lacinato kale, which I started in the house about 4 or 6 weeks ago. And what I like to do in June is pull out some of those crops which are bolting, like this endive here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out and then replace it with fresh, brand new crops, so that I never run out of salad to harvest. So I've got an already ready-made hole here. Kale is such a hardy crop. So you could throw in some worm castings or organic fertilizer if you want to into the planting hole, but really it will do just fine if you don't end up doing that. So I'm just popping out a little seedling from my 6-pack, and it's super quick and easy just to pop right into that planting hole. That way I've got some new kale ready to roll. We're also going to plant some seeds here in my little summer salad station container. The Dazzling Blue Kale, again in my June subscription box. It has such gorgeous kind of bluish green tinge leaves. Really, really a pretty variety. And this is really good harvested as baby kale. It's fun to have kale and other greens growing that are at different stages, again, so you never run out of something to harvest. So I'm just gonna pop a few seeds in here because I don't want this little container getting too overcrowded. Our chard here, seeds are super tiny. I'm just gonna sprinkle a few right along the drip irrigation line. It'll pop up within a week or so and we'll be harvesting fresh little baby leaves within probably about a month or 2. Next is red vein sorrel, definitely one of the stars of the summer garden. Takes the heat like crazy, so you'll definitely be harvesting these all summer. Has these gorgeous deep green leaves, but the thing I love about sorrel the most is the deep red veining and the deep red stems. When you cut these stems, they're very juicy, almost like when you cut beets. So we love to saute this into scrambled eggs, but it makes an absolutely stunning presentation in a salad. The leaves are nice and textured, have kind of a tangy, lemony flavor. Now, sorrel is a perennial, so it's also one of those crops that you plant once and you're gonna be able to keep on growing it. You can cut it back and the leaves will grow back again so that you always have those beautiful sorrel leaves ready to harvest. Now, the thing about sorrel is if you're growing it to a full-size plant, it definitely needs a little bit of elbow room. It's taking up maybe a foot or so of space here. You can easily keep it pruned and trimmed at the bottom to manage the size. Now, if you're gardening on a patio or a balcony, you could definitely still grow red vein sorrel in containers. If you want to grow it to a full-size plant, it probably needs its own container. But I'm going to plant some here in our little summer salad station, and you can harvest it as baby leaves. It will fit very, very nicely in this 5-gallon container. The seeds are very, very tiny. We'll just pop a few in here, but they'll germinate very well as long as they're warm temperatures where you live. Most people are coming into summer here in June, so I'm just going to pop a couple of tiny, tiny seeds here. And by the way, you can also seed all of these very, very heavily if you want a little 5-gallon microgreen container, or you can just kind of space them apart the best you can. And we do want to sprinkle a little teeny tiny bit of soil over our seeds, not too much. Put too much on top, they're going to have a tough time germinating because they're so tiny. Next leafy green vegetable for June is amaranth. Now, amaranth is an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous green. This is midnight red amaranth, and it can get quite tall, about 6 feet tall. So I'm actually going to plant it right here next to my sunflowers. It is going to be so pretty with the yellow sunflowers and the midnight red amaranth. What a beautiful statement it will make in the garden. So I definitely have some endive again here, bolting, ready to come out. Go ahead and pull it out. Shake the soil off is always a good idea. You don't want to waste any of that precious soil. Left a nice little hole here in these amaranth seeds that were started indoors. It's about 3 weeks ago. It grows super, super fast. So what I'm going to do is plant one of the 6-pack seed cells and then thin out the amaranth as it grows. It's very heat tolerant. It's not frost tolerant like kale, red sorrel, and chard, but it is a real workhorse in the summer heat. An absolutely delicious green. I mean, look at these beautiful purple leaves. They're gonna make your summer salads absolutely gorgeous and so tasty. Not only does this beautiful midnight red amaranth has a gorgeous eye-catching color, but it also has a slightly sweet, nutty flavor. It's absolutely delicious in stir fries and salads, and good to grow for baby greens here in my 5-gallon summer salad station. Look how tiny these seeds are. I'm going to plant some of them in the middle of the container since they do tend to grow a little bit taller, and then harvest them for baby leaves at about 40 to 50 days. So the cool thing about all these leafy greens is they grow very, very quickly, especially when you plant them in warm soil. Can you even see those teeny tiny seeds there on the surface? And because they're so tiny, I'm not going to cover them with soil. I'm just going to lightly press them down just so they have really good contact with the soil, and pop in my tag so I remember which variety I planted here in the middle. All of the leafy green vegetables I've already shared with you today can also be grown as an edible landscape plant. Look very beautiful around the garden, maybe in your edging garden beds. But the 5th one is really interesting. It's actually an edible weed. It's purslane. So you might already have some growing in your garden. Now you can start it from seed indoors, but it's very easy to start from seed right outside. It also can be used as a ground cover. So you plant it where you want it to grow and then watch it spread. Because it does like to spread, I do like to grow purslane in a container unless I'm growing it as a ground cover. Really beautiful kind of succulent type of leaves and stems. And the wonderful thing about purslane is it's power packed with nutrients and contains omega-3s, which are rarely found in plants. You might want to forage around your garden to see if you already have some purslane growing. You maybe thought it was a weed, but little did you know you can actually eat it, and it's quite delicious. It's really nice to top salads with, or even to throw in your omelets. But we're gonna definitely plant some here in our summer salad station, so we have lots of different colors and textures in our summer heat-loving salads. And these purslane seeds, by the way, are also in my Grow Your Groceries with Callie Kim subscription box. So you can grab all the information for that, along with my seed collections over on our website. Teeny tiny seeds again, because these are shorter type of seed, shorter type of plant. I'm going to go ahead and plant this around the edge. We'll have a nice little row of purslane popping up. Now, it's also a good idea to grow purslane as like a living mulch, but you want to grow it somewhere where you don't mind leaving it in or you don't mind it spreading. So that's one reason why I do like to kind of contain it a little bit here in my 5-gallon. I'm really looking forward to harvesting some little baby greens from my summer salad station container in about a month to 6 weeks. Now, speaking about harvesting, let me give you a little harvest tip for these greens. To harvest these greens, you want to do what's called the cut and come again method. It's the beauty of it because you can harvest these greens, they'll keep on producing all summer if you do this method. So with our chart here, what you definitely do not want to do is completely harvest the whole plant and cut the center stalk, because that will leave no leaves to photosynthesize and produce more. But with the cut and come again method, you're going to cut several of the outer leaves, and I like to just harvest my chard and all these leafy greens as I'm going to use them in my recipes. It keeps them nice and fresh. So harvest a few, and then leave at least a third of the plant so it has additional leaves that will photosynthesize and grow new leaves right here from the base. This way you never run out of summer salad station greens to harvest, even in the dog days of summer. By using the cut and come again method with all of your June leafy greens, you'll never run out of leafy salad greens to harvest all summer long. There you have it, 5 must-plant leafy. Oh, I just remembered, I've got another one right over here. You guys got one more in you? Camera guy, come on over here.
Got it.
The bonus is New Zealand spinach. Now this really takes the heat. It's a beautiful leafy green. Gets its name from regular spinach, but unlike regular spinach, it doesn't bolt, but grows all summer long and beautifully spills over your containers. It kind of has a trailing habit here. And another great thing about New Zealand spinach, you can cut it off at the base and it grows right back. This one started this winter as a teeny tiny little stem here in this container, and look how beautifully it's spread. Now, some people say New Zealand spinach seeds look like a dog face. Now let me show you these seeds. They're probably one of the most unusually shaped seeds I've ever seen. Hard outer shell, and they can take a little bit to germinate. I don't know, are you all seeing a dog face in this? I'm not so sure I am. But you can plant them from seed right in your container. They definitely like hot temperatures. If you're starting from seed indoors, you may want to start them on a heat mat for faster germination. Just drop one down in there. Plant it once and it'll grow in your garden for years. Let me know in the comments which one of these greens you're planting in your garden. You really must plant them all in June. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.